Look at stories making the headlines. Our guests are here, but they'll be joining us very soon. But let's quickly go straight to the headlines on the newspapers. And I begin with the News Direct. Banks deposit with CBN increases by 82% in October amidst lending to real sector. And on the front page of the blueprint, Emir Sanusi, federal government's decision on border closure in national interests. Lawmakers urges sustenance. Clerics call for reconsideration. And to the front page of the Daily Times, Buhari to Muslims, shun violence, killings and extremism, says violent extremism single biggest challenge facing image of Islam. And use religion to promote love, unity, understanding. Atiku charges Muslims. To the front page of the Daily Sun, 60 billion naira constituency projects. Reps prepare for showdown. No cracks among members, says spokesman. And finally, on the front page of The Guardian, Senate insists on probing alleged 263 billion naira fraud at Lagos ports. OMSL warns federal government against first judgment debt. Lawmakers mull new law to boost governance. Well, joining us to look at the newspaper headlines this morning are two gentlemen, Dr. Dayakaide and Dr. Ojon. Gentlemen, good morning. You look refreshed this morning. Must have had a restful weekend.
Yeah.
And happy Eid al-Mulud.
Yeah, it's the mindset of the holiday.
All right, so let's head straight to the paper. I will be looking at this story on the front page of the blueprint, where Emir of Kano, Sanusi, is saying that the federal government's decision on border closure is in national interest. There's been several reactions to this, and even a story recently stemming from this border closure in Ghana. Some traders, the Traders Association, are asking Nigerians to leave the markets. Deadline November the 14th, I think. I wonder how this is in the interest of the national interest, this border closure in national interest, seeing the reaction, the spillover effect from other African countries around us. Dr. Dotun.
Okay, it is good to fight or to suffer for a just cause than to keep suffering for nothing. Nigerians all over the world have been suffering for nothing. Either we like it or not. You get to the US today, you get to even Europe. They tell you that they are deporting Nigerians in droves. Before the border closure, we've been having problem with Ghana. We've been having problem virtually in all of
but this is in reaction to,
yes,
to
I'm,
the closure.
I'm coming to something. It's simply because of the fact that Nigeria as a nation has not been able to purchase value for its citizenry. Now,
really?
Yes, we have not been, because they don't value us. I've traveled virtually all over this African district, and I know how they treat Nigerians. Now, this is where I'm going to. For the fact that we have closed our border now and is generating this concern, it will give us as a people an opportunity to actually make our own demands. We have been talking about rice. We've been talking about security. We have not even talked about petroleum product. Do you know that the last time I visited Benin Republic, you know they don't have filling stations like we have here. A liter of petrol was somewhere around, I can't remember, the France. What they do, what the rich men in Nigeria do, is majority of them that are involved in petroleum product. They import petrol into Nigeria. They collect subsidy from the Nigerian government. And they take the petroleum product to other countries, to Niger Republic, to Benin.
And now there is an operation on the ground by the government saying that we will not take petroleum products to neighboring communities, 20 kilometers around those border areas.
That is in response to that.
Yes.
Now that we have had this, maybe you are not aware that the level of consumption of petroleum products in Nigeria has come down.
Yes.
What effect does that have on the economy? The effect it has on the economy, because the government, either we like it or not, has not been truthful with subsidy payment. But it's going to have a significant effect on subsidy payment, because you are not going to come, you are not going to import 100 liters now and say you are importing 300 million liters, because that has been the practice over time. What we are not consuming as a nation, we are actually paying for it. So I understand what the Nigerian community in Ghana is facing, but I think this is a necessary evil that we need to pass through.
Dr. Dahel Kayode, do you share the same view that this is a necessary evil?
I'm just
innocent citizens have to pass through because of the
I'm
decision that was made.
I'm just surprised the templates that my friend Dr. John is bringing in this morning as regards closure of border will peradventure improve our value outside the country and all that. With the closure of border now, has it even increased our value? Rather, it has even reduced it. Because those people that are closing this border closure is not affecting them. Go to the market. Listen, go to the market and see the way people are suffering.
That's on the Nigerian end.
On the Nigerian end. Then also go to that Ghana and see what is happening to Nigerians. Is it border closure that is going to solve our problems, or for the government itself to be sincere? He was talking about how they are selling fuel. Has he any money to import fuel? Who are those people importing that fuel? We're talking about liberalization of that particular sector. Is it today we have been talking about it? We have been saying, look, let our refineries work so that all the additions to all this petroleum, whatever, will not be there. By the time our refineries are working, we are refining more than enough that we can take. Then we can export it to other neighboring countries, and we make more money.
And the issues of smuggling will not exist?
Smuggling will not exist.
Really?
Sure. Talk about the rice they are talking about. Bringing rice from this, bringing rice from that. In fact, for me, I even prefer Nigeria to be importing rice.
Really?
Yes, because there are some other products of which we have comparative advantage.
Like what?
Like cashew nut, like sesame seeds, yeah. And some other things like that, rubber, cocoa. All right? When you export all those things, you make more money. And when you make money, you spend less than 1/10 of your proceeds to bring in rice. What is the yield of rice per hectare in Nigeria to all those areas that we are bringing rice from? Listen, sir, those are the things we need to look at. But because you have now closed borders, look at what is happening to Nigerians, both in and outside. Now you will now be talking of xenophobia. Why won't there be xenophobia? Why will not people look at you? What also make you to even go and sign that African Free Trade and all that
agreement?
Why are you a member of AU? Why are you a member of ECOWAS? Why can't you take these things to that place? Because when these people knows that even within your own country, you are not being sincere. So when you take your case there, they just look at you big for nothing, brother.
That's a very weighty statement.
But it's true.
It is a weighty statement.
That's why we are not being valued.
Yes, sir. I don't want us to create an impression that Nigerians abroad are suffering because of border closure.
But you mentioned Ghana just now. You mentioned Ghana.
We are talking about Ghana.
Yes, we are talking about Ghana.
Xenophobic attack before this
thing. Talk about what is happening in Ghana.
Ghanaian government
why are we suffering in Ghana?
Has been deporting Nigerians before the border closure.
But this is in reaction to
border closure, is not the solution to Nigerian problems.
Exactly.
I don't want us to create that impression. But
that is what he wants you to establish.
It's one of the solutions. It's one of the steps we need to take. If you do not understand the conspiracy of the West, you may not understand some of these things.
But when you want to take it, you conceptualize it properly.
Would you allow me to make my point, sir?
Quickly, because we are running out of time.
Would you allow me to make my point, sir?
Yes.
The life expectancy of an average Nigerian is somewhere around 54. And you continue to think that it's because of, most of the time it's because of what we are not doing well. But most of the time it's a product of conspiracy. The foreign rice that you prefer, majority of them, I can beat my chest with all honesty, are poison. These are some of the things that conspire. How
many people has he killed in the past?
You will not know because it's gradual. It's gradual. We need, and they plant this mentality in our head that we must rely on them.
Where's our INEC? We need to put the structures in place to ensure that
No
Where's
doubt
our
about
standard
that.
organization? What are they doing?
That's
What is
their
our
job.
NAFDAC? What is our NAFDAC doing?
Absolutely.
They're supposed to handle
right.
that
There-
area.
there's a
So don't let us
gentleman-
hide on down
Yes.
necessarily whatever.
We have to
There's
leave
a
it at this
general
point,
capacity
gentlemen.
collapse, and no doubt about that.
Absolutely.
In the Nigerian
That's
state.
established.
Who collapsed it?
Thank you, gentlemen, for your contribution on the newspaper review this morning.
Let's take a look at stories making the headlines in Nigerian newspapers this morning. I have with me in the studio communications and leadership strategist Dr. John and political technocrat Dr. Dayo Kayode. Thank you very much for joining us. So you are a doctor of political science or analysis?
Interestingly, I'm into aviation safety.
Okay.
But I just develop interest in political policies.
We can
and
call
all
you
that.
jack of all trade.
No,
Master of all.
that gathers no more. So I'm not.
All right, so let's look at the stories and making the headlines this morning. Starting with the News Direct. Banks deposit with CBN increases by 82% in October amidst lending to real sector. That's in the News Direct this morning. The blueprint is saying Emir Sanusi, federal government's decision on border closure in national interest. Lawmakers urges sustenance, clear calls for reconsideration. Daily Times says here, Buhari to Muslims, shunned violence, killings and extremism. And the writer says violent extremism, single biggest challenge facing image of Islam. Use religion to promote love, understanding, unity, Atiku charges Muslims. The Daily Sun is saying here, 60 billion naira constituency project. Reps prepare for showdown. No cracks among members, says spokesman. The Guardian is saying Senate insists on probing alleged 263 billion naira fraud at Lagos ports. OMSL warns federal government against fresh judgment debt. Lawmakers mull new law to boost governance. The Daily Trust says firefighting equipment grounded in states amid rising incidents. That's in the Daily Trust this morning. So we will stick with the papers this morning. The Daily Sun newspaper is saying here, 60 billion naira constituency projects. Reps prepare for showdown. No cracks among members, says spokesman. Let's talk about this, gentlemen. First of all, the constituency project, it's a serious matter. Now, 60 billion naira constituency project. Reps prepare for showdown. There's been several arguments. What do you think about it, Dr. Dayo?
Why would they not prepare for showdown? They will, definitely, because it now concerns them. It doesn't concern the people. Why did they not have showdown among themselves when we're talking about minimum wage for labor? All right. Now, another aspect that I want us to look at it is, what is the constitutional provision for the functions of the legislature? We have the legislature, the executive, the judiciary. Legislature to legislate as regards laws that will be guiding activities within the territorial integrity called Nigeria. Executive to execute whatever comes out from the legislature. Why the judiciary? To interpret and adjudicate on
law.
So where do we now have constituency project for the legislatures in our constitution?
How did we start all of this constituency project, Buhari? Because local government are supposed to be doing a lot of things.
The thing is this. You see, let me just reiterate this here this morning. You know, there was a time I said all these so-called politicians, leaders, they are highly hedonistic.
Okay.
They only think about themselves, not about you and I. And do you know why?
Why?
They are not really interested in the development of this country. Because, go and check, most of them, especially the leadership, they have dual citizenship. And when you now look at oath of allegiance or citizenship of especially America, which I have been privy to see before, and that of UK, then you now know why they are doing all this to us. So all they are just trying to do is how to fetch their pocket, to be able to take care of their children and their immediate family, and then leave us wallowing in poverty.
Okay, let me listen. Let's hear from
You see, the idea of constituency project actually started with the mindset that the federal government is far from the people. Like you said, we have the local government closer to the people, or perhaps is the closest to the people.
Yeah.
But along the line, there was the need for more attention of the federal government. So the idea is a person representing a constituency on the senatorial district will have a better understanding of what the needs of his people or her people are. So they take that need, they are supposed to ideally take that need to Abuja, put it in the budget through any of the ministry that is affected.
Okay.
And they allow the ministry to do the execution.
Exactly.
That is the mindset. But along the line, I think it has changed over time. There is now the legislator that will be running from pillar to post to get, even in situation where I think up to now, the ministry still execute, but it's the legislator that appoints the contractor.
Oh, okay.
So you take the contractor, I want this so-so person to do this so-so thing. You take it to the
And
district.
who is that contractor?
And
Who
at
will
the
that
end of
contractor
the,
be?
yes, at the end
We
of
know
the
now.
day, at the end of the day, the people are the losers. And we are the cause of our woes and our problems.
How?
The problem of governance
Yeah.
starts on the day of election. The success of any government starts on the day that people go there to cast their ballot. For example, if somebody is spending $1 billion, I told somebody on set before, I don't know whether you were the one, that I actually gave a job to somebody to go to my state and do an analysis of how much it will cost to win election, gubernatorial election. And they came back with the report that you will need between 800 million and 2 billion naira.
That's just a go for
That's
states.
gubernatorial election. A man who goes to the Senate spends between 500 million and 1 billion in some cases. Where do we want them to recoup this money? This has been the problem. When you were collecting 5,000 naira on the day of election, where do you want them to recoup the money? So we have created problem for ourselves as individuals by collecting and demanding money on the day of election. And once they get to Abuja, it's just a problem of mindset that, okay, when you are getting money from these people, where do you want them to recoup the money? So we are because of our problem.
Doctor, let me quickly put in this. Yes, people collect money from them during electionary campaign and all that. But Matthew, you know, I said these guys, they are very hedonistic. What they have done is ensure that they reduce to the barest minimum the disposable income, the real income of the people, to the extent that they cannot do anything outside the so-called leaders. 1. 2, they have also removed education, understanding, and socialization from the people, so that at any point in time, whatever they come in to feed them with is what they will take.
Okay.
And hence, where do you want these people to go to? So it is now left for you and I. Thank God you say you send somebody to go and do research in your state on how much it you take. Probably you are planning to do one. So somebody like you now, let people understand. But look, if you mortgage your economic well-being for a morsel of food, then for the next 4 years, you are going to suffer for it. You got to come up with concepts that people will understand, that will not make them to take money. For even when they still take money, let them vote for somebody that will be out there
But
to take good care of them. Because
that
when you look at this money now, this 60 billion, let them take this 60 billion for this budget year now to one place and establish an industry. You will see how many people will be working there. Let them take this 60 million to maybe cocoa industry in Akilo Road there, off Akilo Road there. And then let that industry be working. See how many people will be working there. Let them take it to Dunlop. Let them take it to Michelin. Let them take it to all this area, all these moribund industries. And then see how many people will be working there. And when these people are working, they will have enough money to feed. They will have enough money to educate themselves. And they will be able to withstand the whims and caprices that these people are now, forcing on them.
Okay, so let's bring it down to the minimum wage issue now. Looking at this issue, you mentioned about the minimum where the governors are not willing to pay the 30,000 naira. But we see that these governors these leaders take on a lot of amounts.
A lot of money from.
A lot of money from the
now
accounts.
Listen to
security votes and the like.
Listen to this. Let us query them. This security vote, number one, is it in the constitution? Then number two, what are they using this security vote for?
It's for their security of the state.
You that will go to police station and say, come and do this, say there is no fuel in that, they say. Then look at the retinue of aids they have. Look at how many vehicles. At my area there was one governor that came there. He was going to Waterhouse about a month ago or thereabout. Come on, even two ambulance buses following the convoy of a governor. For what? 2 ambulance buses. For what? Do you understand?
Yeah.
Come and look at bikers in front. What do we need all this for? If you remove all these things, you put all this money together, it will go a long way to pay minimum wage and make workers okay. Then this 60 billion, they should please remove such from all these legislators.
All right.
And then let us be using this money to improve the standard of living of the people.
Okay, let me hear from Dr. now.
You see, the 60 billion is not the issue. The issue is insincerity at every level. If we put a budgetary allocation of 60 billion to perhaps all the members of the House of Representatives and allow them to attract one project each to their constituency, it's going to be an addition to such constituency. Okay. But what do we have? We have boreholes that will not work more than 3 months. Once they come there to inaugurate it, the second day when you get there, it's not working. And you have projects in my community now. There's a funny thing going on, and in Ondo State now, we have, I think we have NDDC with electricity line to a town called Kiribo. And we also have, I don't know whether Federal Ministry of Power, extending electricity to the same town called Kiribo. So the one of NDDC is up. The one for Federal Ministry of Power is down, going to the same community. So you have duplication of projects because they are not properly harnessed. If we harness some of these projects very carefully and we utilize this money, if we give people the ownership, this is what we have been. You can't build institution without the people. If you give people ownership, give them the power to monitor their project and have perhaps where to report to as to the progress of that project.
How do you give them the power to monitor projects?
You give them the power because you involve them. The first thing you do is when you want to make people part of the project is you don't just go to a community to construct good road when the only car there are 2 vehicles. Okay. You ask the people, you engage the people as to what they need. And once you engage them as to what they need, then you give them the ownership, the power to monitor the project.
In the then on those states, when Omoboro was deputy governor, he attracted construction of roads to some areas of Ekiti. He did not appoint contractors. Do you understand? But he made sure, Omoboro himself made sure that he supervised it. And that's how Omoboro was able to get supporters when he was running for governorship in Ekiti. He did not bring contractors, but he ensured, because that road even passed, it didn't pass through my own community. Do you understand? Then sometimes you see Omoboro with his own convoy coming to supervise.
Well, from what Dr. Rada said, the people giving them the right to monitor a project. But we've seen in this climb where someone is commissioning a borehole, there's wild celebration and jubilation.
I mean,
how do we expect to monitor projects when it has been done?
You see, when you are...
And are we empowered to do that?
And that's why I said from the beginning, the government, I'm still going to refer to Ondo State, the government of Dr. Olusegun Mimiko in Ondo State did something like that. It goes to any community. They have a town hall meeting. And they even cast vote. There are communities you get to where the people will say, oh, we need borehole. The other people will say it's town hall. They cast vote. The majority of the vote actually carries the project, wins the project. And once you start, they introduce your contractor to the community. That is your contractor. If need be, you even know the address, his office. Okay. So if he misbehaves, you know where to go to. So you have made the people, you have given them the right to monitor, to own the project from inception and to monitor. So they begin to monitor from inception. They know how much government releases for the project. But do you know why government is afraid to do that? Why? Because they don't even want to, they don't want you to know how much they approve for any project. Even on the board of when you get to project side, there's supposed to be what's it called?
A project board.
I will
Yeah.
tell you the amount of the project is supposed to be slated on the board.
But they will never.
So you do not need to get to the ministry or invoke any what's it called? Freedom of information. This thing before you get some of this basic information. But because they know that some of the prices are unnecessarily insane.
All right.
How can you give out a borehole that I did in my house for 120,000 naira and you give me out for
7 million.
160 million naira? We have cases of that in Lagos. So these are some of the things. So let the people own it. For example, if I cannot be a governor and I will construct a project that I love so much, and I will allow the people to destroy it. One of the reasons why people also destroy the project, I keep referring to my toy because anytime I pass through that place, I feel like crying. Governor Ambode built a barrier because there were a lot of accidents there. But the people used their hand to destroy it. You know
Not just
why?
Mile 12. In
Yes.
every part of Lagos.
Yeah. One of the reasons is that you didn't carry the community along when you were doing that thing. There are landlords across the road. If they were part of the project, they are not going to sit down there and allow anybody to come by 1 a.m. to destroy it.
And that is why I put up an article the other time as regards concept of people's needs analysis should be the basis, the bedrock of our budgetary system.
All right.
Look at the bridge we now have at Alagbole. We don't need that bridge for anything. All they need to do then was
the road.
increase the width of the existing bridge and then increase the width of the road. By now, all that particular road will have been done. They will have done with that road.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for talking to us on this discussion.
Well, it's time to take a look at stories making the headlines in Nigerian newspapers. I have with me in the studio communication and leadership strategist Dr. Ojon and political technocrat Dr. Dayo Kaide. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning,
Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast. All right, we head straight to the papers, and I begin with News Direct. Banks deposits with CBN increases by 82% in October amidst lending to rail sector. To the front page of the Blueprint, Emir Sanusi, federal government's decision on border closure in national interest. Lawmakers urges sustenance, cleric calls for reconsideration. And Daily Times, Buhari to Muslims, shun violence, killings and extremism, says violent extremism single biggest challenge facing image of Islam. Use religion to promote love, unity, understanding, Atiku charges Muslims. To the front page of the Daily Sun, 60 billion naira constituency projects, reps prepare for showdown. No cracks among members, says spokesman. And to the front page of The Guardian, Senate insists on probing alleged 263 billion naira fraud at Lagos Port. OMSL warns federal government against fresh judgment debt. Lawmakers mull new law to boost governance. And finally, on the front page of the Daily Trust, firefighting equipment grounded in states amid rising incident. Gentlemen, we've been seeing the occurrences of fire incident, and according to the report here now on the front page of the Daily Trust, in major states, or most of the states, when you talk about firefighting equipment, they are next to non-existent. And we know the level or extent of damage fire causes. I wonder how this comes to you, knowing that in most states, issues of firefighting equipment are not available. Dr. Kayode.
I think in one of your news just now, you were showing
Fires incident in Okobaba.
Incidents in Okobaba and all that.
That had happened consecutively from 2013
year to year, day in,
to
day
2019.
out.
Yes.
We're also not aware. We're also unmindful of this one that happened in
Lagos.
Enugu. No.
Okay.
Is it Enugu or that Achaba market or
Yes,
so at Onitsha and all that? That's to tell you that, like I said all the time, these people, they don't give a hoot what happens to you and me. Why are they not fighting themselves now because of these fire accidents that are happening here and there? But then when it comes to constituency allowance, they started fighting themselves. Don't they know, like my brother was saying the other time, that, okay, they want to see what is happening in their area, okay, we put it in the budget, then they supervise it, they bring the contractor and all that. Why can't they look at all these incidences and say, see, why do we always have fire affecting our economy? Because if you look at that one that happened in Okubaba now, and the one that happened in Achaba market in Onitsha the other time, whereby even a woman lost her life and the life of her daughter.
Yeah.
Coupled with, even I read the story of one guy that just finished from his oga. He said, my oga just said to me, I said, make I do this, and those things went into flames. So what is the level of preparedness? Are we saying these people don't know what we call preparedness against emergency, rather than always being reactionary? Go to states, go and check their fire service offices. The kind of, even staff, even the staff you have there, they look so malnourished and unequipped. Look at, do they even have uniform?
And we cannot rule out incidences like
and
this from happening.
It's always happening. You see, I'm a safety expert,
okay,
and I know that it's always better for you to prevent than to react. All right? And even when you prevent, you still can't stop it happening. So what you need to do is to be ahead of even the occurrence. In case, okay, I've put in enough of preventive measures and all that. But at the same time, in case it happens, where do I go from there? All right? You got to put on equipment. You got to have staff that are well trained. You got to have, equipment that are serviceable. And you have to be testing them all the time. Not to talk of now. What do we have now?
You can see other climes. You see people...
Don't let us compare it to...
No, of course, perhaps it's important we do compare, because you hear even little children in other climes saying, I want to be a fireman, because it is something you are proud of, to save lives. And
Can you remember what happened September 11 in America? You see the prompt...
The level of response.
Prompt reaction. But here, instead of you to have less than 20 minute response level, you'll be seeing 2 hours, 3 hours.
Let's get
look at Dana incident that happened the other time.
Let's get Dotton's perspective to this issue right now, because
leadership perspective. I'm actually coming from leadership perspective. Most of the times, our leaders are working hard.
Really?
They are working extremely hard,
but not smart.
No, they may even be working smartly.
So what is the missing link?
There's a disconnect between the expectation of the people and the performing capacity of the leader. Okay. That is why it is very important, when you are on the day that you want to elect your leader, you search out for leaders with capacity. That is why somebody somewhere is saying, I am trying my best, and he's actually trying his best because he can't do more than his capacity. But you are not seeing the effect, because our problems are becoming more problematic by the day. And the way we have left our problem over time, it has become so problematic that it can swallow the potential of virtually any ordinary leader. Now,
but you should be able to project.
That's when you are a technical leader. But when you are ordinary, when you are just a mere manager. Now, you see, the problem starts right from the day of election. And it graduates to the reactionary nature of leadership in Nigeria. We are a reactive people. We do not take a step, even in our individual homes, most of the times. We do not take some of these preventive measures until something happens. Thank God that Doctor had talked about, I don't know whether you have ever visited a fire station. You can go to Agege and visit one.
I have seen.
And see the state of the place.
The deplorable state.
I was forced just now to Google how much does it cost to even get a fire truck. You saw me do that. It's not that expensive.
No.
But because of the fact that an average governor, in sincerity, does not take fire service as part of his deliverables.
Part of security votes.
It doesn't. We just allow things to come because we are reactionary people.
But we see this incident occur On a yearly basis. For
basis.
instance, the Okobaba incident.
Yeah, it has occurred now. That will not force the government. Go check the budget. If you think I'm lying, go check the budget and go check the amount of money that is budgeted, and go beyond budgetary provision and go to execution. Because what they do is that they just budget. Fire service, bring your budgetary district. They bring it, they put it in the budget, but they will not make money available. Go to the will of the people. The current fate of the firefighter is the same fate with the Nigeria police. There's no reason why they want to die for anybody. They will not die. Once they know that there's fire anywhere, they go and hide. After 3 hours, they come. Sometimes they begin to beg the community people for water. We have lost the ability to pay attention to important things.
Veronica.
And that's why
in fact, there was a recent video of the fire incident that happened in the markets recently in Lagos. And there was a man using a bucket to pour water. Veronica. And there was international reaction to that.
You know what? This thing is beyond capacity of the leaders we are talking about, like Dotun said.
It is beyond that?
It's beyond that. Do you want to tell me that somebody like the leader of the House of Reps, Bajabi Amila, doesn't know what it takes to be preventive than being reactive? But they will not. You know why? Because as they are, you are never part of their decimation.
But we are part of them, those that brought them to where they are now. That's
what I'm saying. I'm
not sure that's the issue.
They want to put you in perpetual jeopardy so that they can always entrench their hegemonic oligarchy upon you at any point in time.
That really the issue?
Look at Okoba now. Let me tell you about Okoba now. That thing has been happening every year. Before you know it, government will tell you that the sanitation of that place is poor. You want to take over that place. And before you wink like this, bam, they have shared that place among themselves. Go and write it down.
We've seen that happen in Yaba, right?
You have seen that it happened in this place, Makoko and Morocco. It happened there.
You see,
do you understand? So the issue is
because questions have arisen as to why hasn't there been investigations into this issue.
Okay. The other time, they said NNPC building got burnt. Why? A whole NNPC.
No, any building can
listen to me.
Listen,
it could be gutted by fire. But you want to tell me that they don't have the department that is supposed to be proactive to have been able to provide. You want to tell me they don't have the way they will react to it, but did they react to it?
You see, I think
at the end of the day, which department got burnt? At the end of the day, which department got burnt at that time? Well, we are witnesses to all these things. So don't let us deceive ourselves.
About issues of sabotage.
Exactly, and insincerity. It's not about capacity now. You see, and it's a pity they don't know that. They don't know that in Yoruba we always say that is when an elder is having about 10 pieces of akara balls, how many will you give a small child that will even be playing with it before you stop looking at your nostrils? They don't know. It's a big issue.
It may not be deliberate. The issue of capacity failure is not usually deliberate. It may not be deliberate, but over time.
And that is why you have to surround yourself with people who can fill up that
yes, and unfortunately, since the day of Jesus Christ, I think we have lost it. We have not been paying attention to people that we surround ourselves with. In leadership, Jesus Christ was having a nice time with his disciples. And he called them one day, said, guys, come. Who do people say I am? That's the concept. And perhaps they didn't give him a satisfactory answer. He asked them again, okay, you that are with me, who do you think I am? You understand? So year in, year out, we have had that experience. I've almost left that side. We'll continue to have bad people surround good leaders. Even in Nigeria. No. Because majority, hold on, sir. Would you allow me to make my point, please?
You'll be able to what?
To decipher what they are telling you.
Would you allow me to make my point, please? Because an average politician in Nigeria, I'm not talking about good leader, an average politician in Nigeria wants praise singers. If you want to give good, you do good. If you want praise singers around you, you will never have majority of people that will be able to tell you the truth, including
so
the
you
one
won't
we
be
have
able
in
to
this government.
deliver.
You will not be able to deliver. So that's why I say most of the time it's not deliberate that they want to make the people suffer. It's simply because of the fact that because they want people to sing their
But that's
praises.
the essence of the town hall meetings they have with. But that's the essence of the town hall meetings they have with.
I was a student union. Let me cite this example. I was a student union president. I'm going to cite an example now. I was a student union president. I was supposed to talk to the governor on an open forum. It's a community engagement like we have now. But they barred me from speaking. You know what? Because they are selective. They know the kind of people that will speak in such a forum. It is, you think it's everybody that comes there that speaks?
Because
they select
they
people.
know, because they know they are not
when I
doing
was
the bidding of
struggling,
the people
when,
that
that was why I fell in love with the governor. When I was struggling to speak, he took his intervention and said, allow this guy to talk now. He's not coming here to insult nobody. And that's exactly what we have done. We have been able to cage ourselves from the people we lead. That's why it is also, if I continue to tell you things, the component of capacity, you will understand. Our inability to carry everyone along is also the problem of capacity.
Doctor is trying to be theoretical. These people, they were part of us before. How about a counselor? Somebody who is a counselor, who have been part of the environment before. His people pushed him. But because you know that you are not doing their bidding again, you will not even listen. Even when the person beside you is telling you the right thing, you will say, oh boy, go and sit down. You don't know what is happening here.
But the truth is, these issues have to be nipped in the bud. We have to really talk about these issues because we see millions being lost, lives, property being lost. Something has to be done.
So what should be done now is all these so-called constituency project and all that, instead of you coming up with ball, also take care of these preventive measures.
And we are not safety conscious in Nigeria. Right. We have establishments that don't have safety units.
All right, we have to go now.
We need also to pay attention from the budgetary point to the point
of our Minister of
Gentlemen, thank you for your time on TVC Breakfast.